Hello everyone, it's Mark. I am the Sanderson collector, and today I have the new Tour Books edition of Dawnshard, and I am going to compare and contrast it with the first edition of Dawnshard put out by Dragonsteel. The Dragonsteel edition is the one that came out with the Way of Kings Kickstarter, which ran in 2020 and was shipped in 2021. The official publication date on the copyright page in here is February 2021, and the Tour edition came out this week on February 15th, Tuesday, and this will be the edition that is available in bookstores from here on out, and most copies that you find other than through secondhand sources will be the Tour edition. There are a ton of differences between these two that may not be immediately obvious, and so I am going to break those down for y'all today, especially if you are hunting for the Dragonsteel first edition of this book. Hopefully this guide will help you out. At a distance, these books look almost identical, but even starting with the cover, we can eventually find some small differences. The two that I have noticed on the cover are that Brandon's name is moved up very slightly on the Tour edition and does not cover any of the Larkin like it does over here. And the font for Dawnshard, the title, is thicker. It is a different font. Looks very similar, but it is thicker on the Tour edition than the Dragonsteel edition. On the spine, the book looks almost as you would expect with the Dragonsteel logo and the Tour logo. However, the background pattern is different. If you look very closely at the Dragonsteel edition versus the Tour edition, you can see this difference here with how the pattern goes. And the Tour edition will match up with later printings, such as my 9th printing Edge Dancer here, because the background pattern is the same. It is not the same on the Dragonsteel edition. While the back cover has the same text for advertising on both of them, on the Dragonsteel edition, the first couple lines are bolded, and they are not on the Tour edition, and the price has gone down significantly, and the copyright credits here are slightly different. The font also appears to be slightly smaller on the Tour edition than the Dragonsteel edition. And one last thing to look at before we get into the guts of the book is that the Dragonsteel edition is very slightly less deep than the Tour edition, and the binding is much straighter across, whereas the Tour binding has a little curve in it, and it has a blue headband, which is the name of this little piece up here, something I just learned the other day, for the Dragonsteel edition, whereas the Tour edition has this yellow headband over here. Diving into the actual books, the end papers are a slightly different shade, with both, I believe, probably supposed to be the Royal Colon Blue, but the Tour edition is a slightly deeper blue that is more vibrant than the Dragonsteel edition here. The pre-title title page is a larger font on the Dragonsteel edition than it is on the Tour edition, and the bibliography of other books by Brandon Sanderson is much more extensive in the Dragonsteel edition, because the Tour edition, they limit it to just books that Tour or Tour Teen or Tour Kids have published, plus the Reckoners and Skyward series, whereas the Dragonsteel edition mentions several other books, including The Wheel of Time, the graphic novels, various novelettes and novellas, and Infinity Blade stuff, things like that. Continuing to dig in, the title page has the changes you'd expect, with the Tour logo here versus the Dragonsteel logo here, and we dig in more. Copyright page is much more extensive. Note that it says First Tour Edition, November 2021, and originally published by Dragonsteel Entertainment in November 2020, which I find really interesting, because they don't specifically say that this is a second edition. You have to notice that this other line is here to know that this is a second edition of the book, and also that contradicts the fact that the first edition says February 2021 on the Dawnshard put out by Dragonsteel. Here we start to notice some reflowing of the text, where the dedication of the book is on 4 lines in the Dragonsteel edition and on 3 lines in the Tour edition. And here is where the real fun begins. Flip through. What? The acknowledgments are at the beginning in the Dragonsteel edition, and they are at the end of the Tour edition. So the Dragonsteel edition I like better just because the acknowledgments are at the beginning. I expect it was a marketing decision by Tor to put them at the back so that readers can just jump straight into the story. Of course, I prefer to have them in the front because, as you may notice right here, here is my name. We will get back to the acknowledgments in a moment, but if I go ahead and flip through to the text, you can notice that the title is larger in the Dragonsteel edition, and the text is closer together. The text actually got expanded out for the Tor edition, and it is reflowed, so the line endings and page endings are different, and this means that the Dragonsteel edition actually has fewer pages than the Tor edition by at least 16. I do not know if there were any typo fixes to the text, but there are certainly enough differences between the text sizing that it's easy to tell which edition is which. You can also notice that the title at the top of the page is underlined in the Tor edition, which does match with Edge Dancer, and it is not underlined in the Dragonsteel edition. There is one very minor change to the acknowledgments. In the Dragonsteel edition, it says this book was produced as a result of a successful Kickstarter campaign, whereas in the acknowledgments for the Tor edition, where you can see that the acknowledgments are a much smaller word, it says this book was initially produced as a result of a successful Kickstarter campaign for the Way of Kings. And the word initially is new, so they actually did edit the text over there. That makes sense because this is no longer that edition. There is also new stuff down here saying Christy S. Gilbert at Loose Leaf Editorial and Production did her usual great job with the layout and copy fitting for the printed book. Over here in the Tor book, it instead thanks the team at Tor who worked on this book, includes Greg Collins, Raphael Gibic, Jim Catt, Molly McGee, and Davey Pillai. And it jumps to the usual, the cover illustrations, everything else, I am fairly certain is the same throughout the rest of the acknowledgments, including my name over here in the Tor edition as well. And that's just about it. The only last difference that I have spotted is with Brandon's bio himself in the back. In the Dragonsteel edition, it is on one page with this picture here, and on the Tor edition, it is on 2 pages, one here and one here, noticing that there's nothing on the back of the Dragonsteel edition. It is mildly different text, and you can see that the picture is much smaller over here, so the About the Author bio is significantly different between the 2 books. I believe that is all the differences between the Dragonsteel edition and the Tor edition of Dawnshard, but like I said, if I missed anything, please let me know down in the comments. That is everything for today's video. I hope y'all have enjoyed learning about the differences between the first and second editions of Dawnshard in the US hardcover. If you're enjoying my videos and you want to make sure to stay up to date with all the latest information, go ahead and subscribe. If you have any questions about these books or want to let me know some information that I may have missed, go ahead and leave a comment below. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and like it. If you want to hang out with us or ask questions about your books, you can also join the Collector Discord or Facebook group. Links to those are in the description, and I will see y'all next week with another video. Until then, happy collecting.